Well, hello and welcome to episode number 2 of the Travel Buzz podcast for June the 5th, 2023. In this episode, we will be discussing this week's travel news and taking your listener questions. Make sure and visit our sponsors who make this show possible, Big Dreams Travel, at www.bigdreamstravelusa. Enjoy the show, everyone. Well, welcome to episode number 2 of the Travel Buzz podcast. I'm your host, John Arthur. We are glad you are here with us. This is our travel news show, which will come out the beginning of the weeks. Remember, before we start, to support Big Dreams Travel. They're the ones that make our show possible. At Big Dreams Travel, their goal is to help your family have the vacation of your dreams while they do all of the work. Their dream designers will work with you from start to finish and help you through all of the important aspects of a Disney World vacation, cruise vacation, anywhere in the world that you want to go. Contact them for a no-obligation quote for any destination that you may have interest in. You can visit them at www.bigdreamstravelusa.com or by emailing quote@bigdreamstravelusa.com. Well, thanks for joining us here today. We are going to do our beginning of the week show here on the travel news. This is for the week of June the 5th, 2023, and we're going to jump right into it. I've kind of got some general travel news here at the start, and then we'll get into a couple other categories as we go. But to start, one interesting thing that's kind of came about in the last several weeks, and we've known about this process for a while, but that's when you're going through airport security. We hate standing in line. We all have done it, waiting to stand in line at security. Of course, having global entry or TSA pre-check can be a huge advantage, but what if you don't have one of those things? Or, of course, TSA pre-check only works here in the United States. There's a company here, though, called Clear. And Clear launched what they called their reserve lane back in 2021, and it's been in use up until now at Orlando International Airport. It hadn't been rolled out until recently to other airports, so it has been used at Orlando. I've had some friends and family and those kind of things use it, but it allows passengers that don't have a membership with Clear to schedule a spot in a designated security line ahead of time that will allow them to bypass the line. Clear kind of announces this, and they kind of say this is a free service only available at select airports that they are partnered with. It requires you to book your spot ahead of time online. It provides a more predictable experience than standard airport security. There may be still a small wait. You still have to show a TSA officer your ID to verify that it's you. It just gets you to the front of the line or into a shorter line at these larger airports that are known for having long lines. Orlando International was a great place to test it out, as it is known for having those long lines. There are 19 airports that they have now rolled this out to after their test at Orlando International. The most recent here, they just started this week at Denver International Airport. And what the other airports involved here in the United States, there are 8 airports now, including Denver. You can also do this in Los Angeles, at LAX, Minneapolis, St. Paul International Airport, John F. Kennedy, and Newark, both of those airports in the New York area, both JFK and Newark. It's still available at Orlando International. It's available now at Phoenix Sky Harbor International and Seattle Tacoma International Airport. So 8 airports there in the United States. A few more locations, I think 11 locations elsewhere in the world. And these are the ones that are really beneficial if you are a person that has TSA pre-check. That's, of course, a thing here in the United States. Doesn't work elsewhere in the world. And so if you're a TSA pre-check person, this may be a good alternative for you. This works in some key airports. Several airports in Canada, Calgary, Edmonton, Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver. So 5 airports in Canada. If you're traveling through those, it's a great option. And then several in Europe, Amsterdam, Berlin, Frankfurt, Hanover, Keflavik, of course, in Iceland, Leonardo da Vinci in Rome. And so some pretty major airports there that based on what airline you're flying, you may end up checking in if you've been on a Europe trip or a Canada trip. So really just a cool program. It's a great option if you've got TSA PreCheck and you're international. I've known people that have done this in Orlando with a lot of success, and they really like the service. It definitely shortens the wait, works better at certain times of day. You do just have to make sure you get on and get that reservation. Next news story here this week, Singapore Airlines is offering a new inclusion, and what's really cool about this is it's included for any person flying Singapore Air, regardless of what class of service you're in. And this will start on July the 1st, 2023, but Singapore has announced they're going to allow free in-flight, unlimited in-flight Wi-Fi for customers, again, in all cabin classes. So a lot of airlines have done this in the past in first class, business class, maybe premium economy, and those kind of things. Some airlines have partnered with certain mobile carriers, so if you're with a certain mobile phone company, you have your internet. But this is really the first time we've seen it going to be rolled out to the entire plane, regardless of the ticket that you booked. And so this is really cool. Singapore Airlines Senior Vice President said, in today's increasingly hyper-connected world, high-speed Wi-Fi in flight is one of the most important requirements for our customers. Giving them access to unlimited free Wi-Fi is yet another milestone in our continuous effort to offer an exceptional travel experience. And this will be, again, really great, I think, on Singapore Air on those long-haul flights that they have. You know, that's something you always, whether you're getting work done or just watching maybe videos or shows that aren't included on their in-flight entertainment menu, going to be really cool for Singapore Airlines passengers. Now, with that said, we all know this is going to end up being rolled into the price of the ticket. Whatever that costs them, it's going to be rolled into the price of the ticket. It's no different than Southwest Airlines saying bags fly free. Stuff like that, it's going to be rolled into the cost of what we pay. But what really makes this nice is you don't have to worry about it. It's not something you have to worry about when you're on travel. You don't have to plug your credit card number in at the beginning of every flight. You just log onto the Wi-Fi, and you're going to be online, assuming it works. And so, again, like Southwest Bags Fly Free, this is going to be a great marketing tool for Singapore Airlines. Already a great airline if you're flying long haul into that part of the world. Next news story here. Word out of Nassau is they are starting to allow ships into what's being called the first phase of their of a 3-phase port construction process. So part of this new port area that's been under construction in Nassau in the Bahamas is open. They've had 3 ships already from both Disney and Carnival Cruise Lines that have used this new area. And Nassau, of course, kind of what they're wanting to do is they're wanting to replace Cozumel as the world's busiest cruise port. They already have, maybe in the Eastern Caribbean, they're the busiest. And so this is a step in the right direction there. Workers there in Nassau have made the port larger inside and out. It can now accommodate more vessels, more people. There are 40 retail shops that have been built and will feature a lot of local Bahamian goods. Phase 2 will add even some more restaurant options. The Deputy Prime Minister of Tourism there in the Bahamas said the new Nassau Cruise Port offers a whole new experience for cruise visitors. Not only will Bahamian culture shine through all aspects of the port, but the completion of the project marks a great milestone in ushering in a new era for tourism in downtown Nassau, as well as a beautiful welcome for the millions of cruisers who disembark here. Nassau's long been one of the most popular islands in the Caribbean. If you've sailed the Eastern Caribbean, you've probably been there. Phase 2 of this project is already underway. It should open sometime in 2024, but this is definitely going to be a much needed upgrade in Nassau. When you look at the old port area compared to those new port areas in Cozumel, they're completely different. Those ones in Cozumel have so many great options. They're enclosed and contained, and you've got a whole lot that you can do without even leaving the port areas. And so this will be a huge upgrade there for Nassau. should end up being more like those ports in Cozumel. I don't know that Nassau maybe has quite as much to do in terms of excursions there on the island as you do in Cozumel. I think that will continue to be a challenge for Nassau, but hopefully they will be able to improve that as they get what they think is going to be an increase in cruise ship traffic as well. The next news story here, down in the Caribbean, or also actually in Mexico, on that side of the Caribbean, in the Riviera Maya area, the new Margaritaville Resort in the Riviera Maya has opened. These Margaritaville resorts are beautiful resorts. They're run by a great company that runs Caribbean resorts called Charisma. And this is the newest all-inclusive, what they call their Island Reserve Collection Resort. It opened on June the 1st, so just a few days ago. The resort offers several firsts for the Island Reserve Collection, a new brewery concept, some new room categories and suites, 9 different restaurants and bars, 355 suites with adjoining rooms and private balconies, terraces that look over the resort's grounds, gardens, pools, the beautiful ocean and beach. They have 13 different room categories. And so, couples, adult friend groups should have no trouble finding a room category that fits them. One of the things that struck me as I was looking into this new resort was just a large selection of swim out room options. Those are so popular at these all-inclusive resorts, and this one's got a nice large selection of swim out rooms. The new general manager there said, "We're delighted to welcome our first guests to Margaritaville. We have world-class all-inclusive resort that offers the ultimate in adults-only escapes, inviting guests to indulge in a 5-star global dining, unparalleled service, luxurious amenities, spectacular entertainment, unparalleled views, and so much more." And if you haven't ever really looked at any of these Margaritaville resorts that are in multiple locations in the Caribbean now, they have a very fresh look. The rooms are very bright. They, of course, have great bar areas, swim-up bars at the pools, and the pools are really good. And like I said, this one has just some great swim-out suite options. And so that is a new all-inclusive resort there in the Riviera Maya, south of Cancun. So that is great to see. Another resort that some of the other ones have been popular as they've started, and now one there in Mexico. Next news story here comes from Royal Caribbean Cruise Line. They have announced, and this is really a unique story, but a new unique dining venue that is going to be on their newest ship that's planned for next June in 2024. It's the Utopia of the Seas. This will be the 6th Oasis-class ship that Royal Caribbean has built. But this dining experience is a virtual train ride. They call it a mixed reality dining experience. They're on Utopia of the Seas. It's designed to resemble a train dining car, using some real train parts, steam, a train platform. Once guests are inside, they're able to look out the windows, which are virtual, and they're able to see footage from the American West, from the Baltics, France, other destinations as they are dining. It says the food offerings will match the location, and so that's kind of a cool mix. But Royal Caribbean said trains will go through tunnels, so it will allow you to move magically from one destination to another. This is from Royal Caribbean's brand's chief production officer, Jay Schneider. He also said, "We could take you through a multi-course, multi-sensory experience that would allow you to visit multiple destinations on a culinary journey. Virtually see it and do it in a train experience on a cruise ship." Now, according to Royal Caribbean's research, Schneider said that 2 of the most important reasons that people book a cruise are for the destinations that are involved and the food. And so he said this dining car concept speaks to both of those. They also said trains have grown in popularity, so they think this is going to be popular to among people. This kind of follows some other new immersive things that are on Other ships, I think Princess Cruise Line, they just announced their 360 experience, which features some screens and storytelling aspects. But on this Royal Caribbean train ride, the windows feature the countryside or the cityscape or whatever the destination that is going. And they say they may even bring in some holiday elements. And so a lot that could be done with this. I will say it's a little bit of a strange concept to me. A train on a cruise ship. I mean, I think it'll be interesting to see how it gets pulled off and how this works and how popular it is. Now, with that said, I know, one of the things I think of Disney Cruise Line that is super popular with them is the Animator's Palette restaurant. That's kind of an interactive show. Obviously different than this train experience, but a similar thought. Of course, the new Disney Wish has the Marvel restaurant that's kind of similar to that, and so those are obviously super popular. We don't really know. It didn't say how big this train experience is going to be. How many people can it fit in? How will reservations work? So obviously, still a lot of information coming on that, but it is kind of an interesting news story to say the least. Next news story, we're going to go to a couple of things here, Disney travel related. We like good Disney talk here on the show sometimes. Disney World has announced a couple of important things this week. The first one is kind of the smaller story, and we'll get to the bigger one in a second. But the smaller story for Disney this week, they have announced they're going to limit the early entry benefit at some hotels after 2023. So they had announced a list of hotels for 2023 where you get that 30 minutes of early park entry. They are going to reduce that list just a little bit at the end of 2023, going into 2024. So obviously all Disney-owned resort hotels are included on this list, and they will continue to be included. But Disney had also included a number of non-Disney-owned hotels, whether some on Disney property like the Swan and Dolphin, or Bonnet Creek resorts, some Disney Springs area resorts, and the Waldorf Astoria, and those things that are close, and almost some of them are on Disney property. They had been doing those for a few years now, and so they have gone in and they're going to remove some of those. The ones they're going to remove, most of them are Disney Springs area hotels, the B Resort and Spa, Signia by Hilton, which is a Bonnet Creek resort, the Waldorf Astoria, the Drury Plaza Hotel in Lake Buena Vista, the Wyndham Garden Lake Buena Vista, and the Wyndham Lake Buena Vista. Those are all, they will continue to have that perk through the end of 2023. But they will no longer after that. Some hotels will continue to have this benefit. Again, all Disney-owned hotels will continue to have the benefit, of course. But we're talking non-Disney-owned hotels. The Swan, Dolphin, and Swan Reserve, which are located there between Epcot and Hollywood Studios, they will continue to get early entry. Currently, the Doubletree Suites by Hilton in Orlando will. The Four Seasons Resort will continue to get early entry. Hilton Orlando Buena Vista Palace, Hilton Orlando Lake Buena Vista, the Holiday Inn Orlando, and the Shades of Green Resort there at Disney World. Those will all continue to get that 30-minute of early entry. So it appears as though the list of off-property resorts or non-Disney resorts has been kind of cut in half. I don't really know the reason for this. It may just be a contract issue between Disney and those hotels. Early entry, in my experience, gets a little overrun at times, so it may be good to have less people. I wonder if this shows that Disney is having a little trouble booking rooms. I've heard, I've thought that may be the case on this. Are we seeing more guests turn to offsite because some of these offsite hotels have early entry, which is probably the biggest benefit of staying on site. And so we don't know. This may be a way for Disney to try to sell more of their own hotel rooms going forward. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. But again, that will not start until 2024. 2024. The big news out of Disney this week is the return of the Disney dining plan. Some of us that are diehard Disney fans have been thinking about this and hearing others talk about this ever since it shut down prior to COVID back in 2020. And the dining plan is coming back as Disney has opened packages for 2024. If you want one of those 2024 packages, our sponsors at Big Dreams Travel, their dream designers, are experts on Disney on every step of the planning process. They will help you through it all. So of course, contact them. But with that being said, there are some changes on the dining plan from those of us that what it had been used to. And again, it'll roll out in early 2024. This, some people use the word sometimes all-inclusive on this. It's not necessarily all-inclusive. You have credits that you have to work with. I will say in terms of where these credits are able to be used, as far as restaurants, Disney has always been very, very good about having a lot of places. In fact, I struggle to find places that don't take the dining plan. So that's not really something I would worry about if you're thinking about the dining plan. On the regular dining plan, the cost of that is around $94 per day for an adult and around $29.70 for a child. That pricing is per night of your hotel stay, and you have to add it for the entire hotel stay. The quick service dining plan is $57 per adult and just under $24 for a child. When we're talking about the regular dining plan, again, just as it used to be, it's one quick service meal per night and one table service meal per night. It also includes one snack or non-alcoholic beverage per stay. This is down from 2 snacks. At one point, the dining plan included 2 snacks. It's down to 1. You do still get the resort refillable mug. And again, it's just credits. If you have a 4-night stay, you have 4 table service credits, 4 quick service credits, 4 snack credits, and the mug. Beverages are included with every meal. Guests 21 and over are allowed to do an alcoholic beverage. That's continuing to be a part of the dining plan. Guests ages 3 through 9 have to order off the children's menu. That's one of the stipulations. And again, as we said, the plan must be purchased for the entire length of stay. The quick service dining plan, same plan, except instead of 1 table service meal and 1 quick service meal, it's 2 quick service meals per night. You still get the snack. You still get a beverage with every meal. If the location serves alcoholic beverages, guests 21 and older can do an alcoholic beverage. So obviously there's a lot of places you can use this. The snack options are there's a lot of them, and so you're not going to have a lot of trouble finding things to use this on. I'm glad this is back, just because I know there's a lot of people out there that really like this over the years, and so I'm just glad it's back for people that want it. It's probably not something that I will do with my family currently, and I'll tell you why. And this is something to be aware of. I've got one of my kids is newly over 10 years old, and so as when I said the cost, it's about $95 a day for an adult and just under $30 a day for a kid. So it's almost $70 a day more for an adult. And of course, in Disney's eyes, once you turn 10, you're an adult. And so that dining plan cost for a family like mine just went up a lot. Having to pay for 3 adults and 1 child, as opposed to what we used to would pay 2 adults and 2 children. And so that's something to keep in mind. When they turn 10, they are paying adult prices as opposed to kids' prices. So the dining plan is back. Awesome news there. A little more cruise news here as we kind of round out the news here with our last news item. And just thought this was neat that we have got 5 new cruise ships getting delivered this summer. Really, since COVID ended, we've seen a lot of new cruise ships come about, but we've got 5 more on tap here this summer. The MSC Eurybia, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. but it was handed over just a few days ago. And so it is the first of some that is coming. But MSC, of course, is a cruise line that's growing a lot in the recent years. They've got some ships over here in the United States now, based out of Florida, and just growing around the world. The cruise. One of the cruise news agencies said the other day that this set of new cruise ships includes a wide variety of ships, many different brands, from the mass market lines to the luxury cruise lines. It's the growth of the cruise industry is hitting in all of those categories. We're going to see 3 of these 5 new ships come from that luxury category. One of them is the Explora Journeys. This is the first ship from that company. It's actually a part of the MSC group. It's kind of their first, they're kind of dipping their toes in that luxury cruise market. The Explora Journeys, that'll come along here this summer. Also on the luxury cruise market, Seabourn is bringing a new ship. The Venture is coming. The Pursuit. The Venture just came out from Seabourn not too long ago. The Pursuit is now the sister ship to that. Currently finishing construction. And that will be an expedition ship. And then finally in the luxury market is Silversea. Will be getting in August the Silver Nova, which is a natural gas powered vessel. It's having the final touches put on it, and so again, those 3 are coming from the luxury side of things, and then kind of the big one coming out for kind of the bigger cruise lines over. Finishing up right now is Norwegian Cruise Line's second Prima class ship, the Norwegian Viva. Norwegian did recently cancel the first 6 sailings, I believe, on the Viva. They've pushed that back into August. It was slated for right in the middle of the summer. It's been pushed back a little bit as they're trying to finish up construction. But several new ships coming here this summer. The cruise industry is growing. Through 2028, we've got 61 new ships scheduled to be built. That's at a cost of $42 billion. And so a lot of additions into the market for sure is exciting. I think, the Norwegian Prima class, the Norwegian Viva that is coming is certainly going to be interesting. The Prima has had really some interesting reviews, a lot of great reviews, but some mixed reviews, and that it's just an interesting concept from Norwegian. It's definitely a different ship than a lot of the bigger ships that are being built now. It's got more smaller, intimate spaces on the ship. The dining venues, the bars, the lounges are smaller, but there's more of them, and so it's just a different setup, and so that's interesting to see how that works out for Norwegian. And again, we're seeing a big investment in the luxury cruise market here, as you've seen with 3 of those new ships this summer, with companies like Silversea and Seabourn. That is interesting to see. Well, that's going to wrap up this week's news segment here on the Travel Buzz. In our final segment of the day, we're going to field just a couple of your listener questions. We like to do a couple of these every week. And we certainly want you to send those to us. Probably the easiest way for you to do that is to just email us, podcast@bigdreamstravelusa.com. We love to answer your questions here on the show. First question from Joy. I was traveling a few months ago. While I was sitting in the airport, they made an announcement that my flight was canceled. I got in the super long line at my gate to speak to a worker, and by the time I got to the front of the line, there weren't any seats on any other flights until the next day. What should I have done? What a great question. I don't know that I have a great answer for that, because it seems like sometimes it's just the luck of the draw. But if I were in this situation, here's kind of the steps I would take if a flight was canceled and those kind of things. A couple of these steps may be done simultaneously, and I'll kind of speak to that as I answer. The first thing I would do is check the app for your airline. So many things are done on the app now. I've actually had flight changes that have happened where I've even got a notification on my app before they ever announced it. So if you're in that situation, weather's in the area, you've already been delayed, whatever it may be, have that app handy, because I've had situations where I've gotten a notification that flight was getting canceled before they ever announced it. And many times on the app nowadays, you can reschedule yourself right there. It, of course, depends on the airline and depends on the situation. Why not take that? I would have that handy, and try the app kind of as a first thing. Now, depending on the timing, you may want to do that at the same time you do this second thing. And my second thing is, it's always best the day of to go find a customer service desk at the airport. They're going to be the best help. If you've worked with a travel agent, you sometimes may want to call the travel agent. The travel agent can't really do anything except call, which is going to put them into a hold queue and may take a lot longer. Those customer service desks at the airport are going to certainly be the easiest place to get help the day of your travel. And so I would say go do one of those. If you may want to be working on checking the app while you're standing in line, and maybe you get it fixed on the app and you can get out of line, you may can kind of do both of those steps simultaneously. But I would go find that customer service desk. And here is one part of your question said, I got in the super long line at my gate. Well, here's one thing to kind of think about. Basically, airlines, they won't really advertise this, and you don't think about this, but any one of those customer service gate agents can work on any flight there at the airport. If you're departing out of gate 24, you don't have to stick with just the desk there at gate 24. And so, go find another gate agent that's working there at one of the desks. Ask them if they can help you, explain what happened. If they're busy on something else, they may not be able to help you there. They may say you need to go to your gate or go find somewhere else. There's also sometimes customer service desks at places within the terminal, certainly depending on what airline you're flying and whether it's a bigger airport for them or not. But I always go try to find one of those other gates where there's another gate agent that's not as busy, and they've usually been able to help me. And you can get to the front of that line, maybe find one without a line, when everybody that was on your flight is lined up at your gate agent, because they think they have to speak with that gate agent. So just something to consider there. Kind of the last thing I would do, and again, you might do these while you're in line. You can get on the phone with the airline. Some airlines have a chat feature now, whether either in their app or online. And I'll tell you, one that has worked for me a couple of times before is to direct message the airline on Twitter. Airlines have some of their best customer service staff working their Twitter DMs. And so it seems like a crazy way to fix your flight. But if you will send them a DM, I've had them help me a couple times before I could get to the front of a line or something like that. And so that's, of course, the time of day. It may depend on how many of them are working or whatever that may be. But I've always found them very helpful there. So hopefully some of those things help you in that question. Second question from Hannah. I'm nervous about embarkation day. This is going to be our first cruise. How can I not be stressed out about this? Well, let me tell you, first of all, relax. You're going on vacation. There may be a few stressful moments. Cruise embarkation can be stressful. It's going to end up okay. I would say number one thing, just make sure you have your passport. Do whatever you need to do to remind yourself to not leave home without that document that you need to get on the ship and any other documents. Set reminders to do that. But once you get out of the house with that thing and you know you've got it with you and it's in your carry-on luggage, not your checked bags, make sure it's not in your checked bag. Once you've got that, you can figure about anything else out there at the port. And get on the ship. So just relax. It's going to be okay. A couple of things, arrive at your check-in time or a little early. Cruise lines pretty much nowadays want you within that check-in window. Check your bags with the porters, your bigger bags. That way you don't have to worry about them. You don't have to lug your bags around all day. It's not like an airline where that bag gets lost. Every now and then a bag may get misplaced on a cruise ship, but it's very, very rare compared to air travel. So give your bags to the porters. Let them help work get those to your room for you. Don't stress about check-in or security. I think it's a little less intense, certainly less intense than air travel. Again, just make sure you have that passport when you leave the house, and you're going to be able to figure out anything there. The biggest time saver and stress saver, I think, is making sure you do online check-in if your cruise line has that process. I just cruised not too long ago, a few weeks ago, and we were curb to on the ship in about 15 minutes, and that's with about a 5-minute wait for some of our friends to catch up to us as they were a little bit behind us in walking in. And that's because we had online check-in done. We had our pictures taken. We had our passports scanned in on the app for the cruise line. Super quick and easy. If you don't have that done, you've got a little longer line to wait through. You've got to do more steps there at the terminal, and it can be a little more stressful. So online check-in is huge help to you. The last thing I will mention is once you get on the ship, sometimes that's a little stressful to people. But just remember, the ship is going to seem really, really crowded your first couple of hours on the ship. Especially if you go into the buffet area or the pool deck, it may seem super crowded and you may be like, this is so stressful. Why did I do this? Why did I put myself through this? Is this whole week on this cruise ship going to feel like this? And the answer is no. Those first couple of hours, nobody's staterooms are ready. People's got all their luggage with them. There's just more people out and about because nobody can go to their staterooms. Once your room's open, the crowd levels on that ship go down dramatically. You probably won't feel that again. There's a few times you might feel a little bit crowded in the buffet or at the pool, but nothing like embarkation day. So just have that in your mind ahead of time. I'm going to feel crowded the first couple hours we're on the ship, but once the stateroom's open, you're going to be a breeze. It's going to be a breeze. Okay, so again, top couple of things. Make sure you have your passport. Make sure you do online check-in if that's available. And relax. You're on vacation. Things are going to be great. Well, that's going to do it for this week's show. We want to thank you guys for listening. We appreciate you watching on YouTube or visiting us on the podcast channel. And we will see you next time. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Travel Buzz Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you check out all of our shows each week, either on YouTube at Big Dreams Travel or wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, we would love it if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure you click the notification bell so that you know when we post new episodes or videos. I'm John Arthur. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you have a wonderful week and have fun planning those future dream vacations. Thank you.